All right, we should be live on YouTube at this point.
Go ahead, Tom. I'll call the meeting to order and ask Anita to do a roll call and ask each visitor to say where they are at the present time during the roll call.
Sheldon Ball, you are calling from your home. Are you
Present.
here? Present. Pat Father, you are calling from your home. Are you here?
I've got my cell phone and I've got my iPhone and I've got the computer as well. I don't think
Pat
I've got the
Father?
star.
Present. And you're at your home in Lexington? Tony Gates,
Yes.
you're in the Ethics Commission office?
Yes, here.
Phil Huddleston, you are located at your home?
I'm at my home. Yes, I'm here.
Dave Nicholas, you are located at your home?
Yes, ma'am.
Michael Nosker, you are located at your
I'm
work?
at my office in Lexington. Thank you.
Okay. And Tanya Pullen, you are located at your home?
Yes, present.
And Judge Sherlock, you are located at your home?
I'm located at home in Southern Shores, North Carolina.
Perfect. And Tony Wilson, you're located at the Ethics Commission office?
Yes, I wish I'd been in North Carolina.
Amen.
Okay, everyone's here, Judge.
Thank you, Donita. I guess the next order of business is the swearing in of a new commissioner member. And I guess I need to be sworn in. I ask Judge Sherlock to please swear me in.
Okay, Judge Wildhold, if you'll raise your right hand, please. Okay, do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the Commonwealth and be faithful and true to the Commonwealth of Kentucky so long as you continue a citizen thereof, and that you will faithfully execute to the best of your ability the office of member of the Legislative Ethics Commission according to law?
Do.
And do you further solemnly swear or affirm that since the adoption of the present Constitution, that you, being a citizen of this state, have not fought a duel with a deadly weapon within this state nor out of it, nor have you sent or accepted a challenge to fight a duel with deadly weapons, nor have you acted as a second in carrying a challenge, nor aided or assisted any person thus offending, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then next, apparently I am to swear in Tanya Pullen and Tony Gates and Sheldon Ball. Are you all present and accounted for?
Yes, Tanya Pullen here.
Okay. What about Tony and Sheldon? We lost that from you. Sheldon still's not with us. Well, I'll go ahead and swear in Tanya Pullen and Tony Gates then. If you would raise your right hands, please. Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of this Commonwealth, and that you will be faithful and true to the Commonwealth of Kentucky so long as you continue a citizen thereof, and that you will faithfully execute to the best of your ability the office of Legislative Ethics Commissioner according to law?
I do.
And you further solemnly swear that since the adoption of the present Constitution, you being a citizen of this state, have not fought a duel with deadly weapons within the state nor out of it, nor have you simply accepted a challenge to fight a duel with deadly weapons, nor have you aided or assisted any person thus offending, so help you God.
I do.
Congratulations, new members.
Thank you, Chairman.
Sheldon is actually here. His microphone is on mute, and that's why you couldn't hear him.
Oh, but did he take the oath? Did Sheldon get it? Okay. Well, congratulations and welcome again, Sheldon. Okay, the next order is, let's see, we've sworn them in. The next on the agenda, the next order of business is the election of chair and vice chair. With your permission, without objection, I would like to move that to the end of the meeting. Is there any objection to that? We'll do the election at the end of the meeting. Okay. Then, I need a motion to approve the minutes of the March 10th meeting.
I so moved.
Second,
Have a motion by Sutfield.
Yes.
Is there a second?
Tony Gates, yes.
Second by Tony Gates. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Minutes stand approved. So let's see, now, Donita, I guess we need a staff report.
Laura Hendrick. Yes, Laura Hendrick.
Have you got some stuff with you, Laura, that you can do that?
Yes, Yes, I
Okay,
do.
please.
all right. First, I want to thank you all for working with us to do our very first virtual commission meeting. I know it's been kind of a ramp up to get everybody up to speed on how to do this, but you all have done a great job working with our staff. And of course, I want to commend our staff for putting this together, as well as the LRC staff. As you know, obviously, since we haven't met since the first or the second week of March, the coronavirus, we've really tried to keep our office working in the best and most efficient way, and also the safest way for both our employees and you all and the general public and people that would normally come in and interact with us. As I put in your books, really the week that we had the last meeting was kind of when all this came to a head. So we had to make some really some quick choices given all the guidance that we had at the time. We went to a system of having one person in the office for a while, only one person, and we kind of rotated that way. But as this went on, we went to a system of reducing that even more by being working from home, and per some guidance from the governor and public health authorities. So and actually, as of about the middle of March, we didn't have in-person people coming into the office, but we were still able to interact with anybody, legislators, lobbyists, employers, anyone who needed our services or needed to file anything. Similarly, as you may have read, the legislature limited all their in-person access to the Capitol and the annex. So again, once we halted the in-person contact, I was very proud of our staff. Danita, Lori, and Emily worked really diligently to ensure and encourage people who were still filing, and we're still up against some filing deadlines, to file online if they weren't already. But then they were also able to, through some magic that LRC set up for us with a virtual private network, we were basically able to take our computers home. If not physically, we could take the information and we could log in and be able to do all the things that we would normally be doing from the office. So I just wanted to say, I can't say enough good things about our staff or LRC staff in that respect. And also, Danita, and talking with Danita and Lori, we felt like, many other organizations, agencies were pushing back deadlines. We felt like it was important to keep, since the legislature was in session, that it was really important to keep the public apprised of what was going on in terms of lobbying activity, and particularly during the end of the session, where it really becomes more of an issue that people know. So with the help of, again, with LRC staff and with Danita and Lori and Emily, we were able to not have any late filings. I mean, we had a grace period of about 2 weeks, but we told them, as long as you send us an explanation of why they're late, and obviously there were plenty of explanations related to coronavirus and some other things that were going on. We were able to get in all of those reports in a timely fashion, which I think is really extraordinary given, again, given the situation. And I know that some agencies were not able to do that, and, which, that's fine too. I mean, there's lots going on, but I feel like that's great, that we were able to be flexible. And then again, at some point we decided that it would be better if none of us were in the office at that point, at the kind of the height of the coronavirus. But again, with the help of LRC staff, we were able to have these networks at home, so we could see all the databases that we needed. And we have been going in one at a time as we need to deal with the mail and anything else that's coming in. So I just kind of wanted to bring you up to date on that. And I believe, I put a couple memos in the book, and also I'd emailed you just to try to keep you up to date on, just making sure that you knew that we were still being diligent and working and meeting, all the statutory requirements of the code, and of course, keeping up with working with legislators and lobbyists for those daily questions that obviously keep coming in, and those are in your book as well. Again, I just can't say enough good things about our staff and how hard they've worked to really turn on a dime, to be flexible, but to be responsive and working really hard to keep that same level of great service, but also to make sure that our health and safety, was paramount. And that was also paramount in my mind because, again, I love, we all love our staff, and we want them to be healthy as well. So with all that being said, I think you all have obviously a good staff, and I, again, can't say enough about that. And also, not to leave out LRC staff, they have helped us, again, set this up and also worked with us on the platform to do this. So I think they're fantastic. Do y'all have any questions just about the transition to the Corona stuff? Again, I didn't want to blather on for too long, but we haven't talked, so I just wanted to make sure you all knew what was going on.
Well, I'll just chime in and say that I think you've done an outstanding job. You seem to have made a really seamless transition to all of this, and I've been involved with some other things that didn't go quite that well, and you've kept us very well informed. And looking at the materials that you prepared for this meeting, it's very obvious how really busy you all have been. And I just want to say, at least for myself, if not for other members of the commission, how much we appreciate your hard work.
Thank you. We appreciate it. We appreciate it very much. Okay. The second thing I wanted to talk about, which is in your book, we've got the budget in there. Tom Hampton, of course, as always, has provided reports, and we are in very good shape. You may or may not realize that the General Assembly only passed a one-year budget, given the coronavirus and possible, inevitable changes that would have to happen with that. So he's going to start working on the next year budget, which will again be a one-year budget. So as they formulate that second year. So, but we're looking good as always, and it's in good shape. And I believe next, Emily Dennis is going to fill you in on all of her efforts to get in the candidate disclosures, and also her hard work on developing a new fillable form, which we feel like will help the legislators and the candidates as they go forward and they have to fill these out. So Emily, do you want to hop on?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Laura. Thank you, Laura. And I want to welcome Representative Pullen to the commission. I'm so thrilled that we get to work together. So like Laura was saying, right after our last commission meeting, all this went down with COVID. And she's bragged a lot on us, but I want to brag on her a little bit because she saw this coming. I'll admit for myself, I didn't quite see it as clearly as she did, but I'm out on the farm when I'm not here. So, but anyway, Laura's done a great job of guiding our agency through these last few months and taking just all the necessary steps, just really even a step ahead of the governor in terms of knowing when we needed to just be in here one at a time, when we needed to just completely close the office, and even going so far as to when we're coming to the office, you know, we take our temperature before we come. LRC has done a great job in terms of getting us set up where we can do our work from home. It's really been pretty seamless from my perspective. So anyway, thanks, Laura, for that leadership. What Laura wants me to talk about is some of the things that I've been doing from my end. We still had statements of financial disclosure that needed to be filed by certain candidates for the legislature. There was a filing deadline of June the 2nd for independent political group and political organization candidates. And we actually had 14 libertarian candidates and 1 independent candidate, 4 independent candidates that filed. So we had to make sure that they got their disclosures in timely and also get those out to the public. There was a special election for Senate District 26, simultaneous with the primary election. So we had a new senator come in and a retired senator. One thing that we did this spring, and we had actually started the project before COVID hit, was the statement of financial disclosure form that we had was a Word document, and it was really difficult when the form would come in filled in by hand. Sometimes it was hard to make out what people had written. LRC service and support, I can't say enough good things about LRC's service. They helped us create a PDF fillable form so that when candidates have to file that statement of financial disclosure, instead of having to just handwrite the form, they can actually go in on their computer and fill it in and then save the document and sign and then send to us. And so we've already gotten some good feedback from candidates on that project. Cindy Odell and Megan Walker over at LRC specifically helped us with that. And Danita's working with COT to make sure that the legislators form that they fill out has the exact same, the electronic form is exactly the same as the PDF and the Word fillable version. There's no substantive difference. There's just a couple of wording differences that we need to work on there. So the other thing that I worked on, the COVID lockdown really provided a great opportunity to review and revise our guidebook. So we were closely monitoring our legislation to see where that would go. Much of the legislation was subsumed into Senate Bill 157. And once that bill was passed into law, we were able to go ahead and finish the review of our guidebook and get it updated. We were actually able to get it printed, get the new guidebook printed within a week of the date that the new law took effect. And so that was a wonderful project to get completed. We're working on our gray handbook. I think we're going to actually even send that to the printer today. That'll be good to have in place. I also took some time and I reviewed the Pac registration details that are published by the Registry of Election Finance. I wanted to make sure that there were no legislative agents that were identified in PAC leadership roles. And where I did see that, we notified them and allowed them a chance to correct that action, and all of those legislative agents took corrective action. So that's what's been going on from the legal side of things.
Okay.
Questions?
Okay, well, I guess the next thing is, in your board books, as usual, we have informal opinions that we've worked on. We've tried to, since it's been so many months, we've tried to call out the ones that are more garden variety, like when we review a letter or something like that, that's not, that's just kind of run of the mill. Also, if you want to if you have any specific questions that have to do with these, of course, these are confidential to the people that they're issued to. So I would just request that if you want to get into the substance of any of these, if we would need to go into executive session for that. But of course, I think it demonstrates that we're still getting questions. Again, we were, towards the end of the session, as many things happen during there. We got a lot of questions from different folks, and I feel like we were able to address those to people's satisfaction and maybe clear up some things if they were confused. So that's that. Do we have any questions about that? Nope.
Laura,
Okay.
this is Sheldon Ball. Can you hear me?
Yep. Yes, sir.
Oh, good. I could hear every word you all were saying, but I couldn't see it on the screen.
Oh,
But that's
Sorry.
okay. As long as you're hearing it.
okay. All right, so informal opinions. The next thing in your, actually, it's the memo is kind of, it's right before the, all the informal opinions is a memo from me about a review of staff salaries. As you may remember, last year at this time, which seems like eons ago, August 2019, you all had indicated a desire to review the staff salaries yearly. So as always, it's up to you, and you all may want to appoint a subcommittee or a group to look at that.
What's your pleasure? Do we want to appoint a committee to look into staff salaries, make recommendations?
Yes. I think since we talked about this a year ago, and I remember doing that, I would recommend, or like to move, excuse me, that the chair appoint a committee to review the staff salaries and bring recommendations back to the full commission. It's been some time since we've had a total review of this. And so I think we should do it.
I'll
Second.
Okay, motion's been made that the chair appoint a committee to review salaries. And seconded. Any discussion? Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Well, I guess I have to appoint a committee. Tony, I'll appoint you, and do I have a volunteer? Anybody like to serve on this committee? Anybody got some ideas?
I live close, so I can meet. This is
You would
Dave.
do it, Dave?
Yes.
Okay, how about one other person?
If I
I'm
could,
here.
yeah, if I,
Bill was,
yeah, if
Bill
I
was
could
on
do
it last, he did a good job.
I'm sorry, we couldn't hear that.
I
No,
said,
Judge Sherlock was trying to say something.
Well, if I can help out remotely, I'm happy to help, but I don't think I can get to Frankfurt. anytime soon.
We can set up the meetings like this virtually or telephonically at your all's request. We can definitely facilitate that. So however y'all want to do that. And actually, I would prefer, y'all not getting together too, just, for safety, obvious reasons.
Oh, yeah. We don't want anybody to get sick for sure. All right, Judge Sherlock, you would serve on this committee? Okay, I'll put you on it too. You need anybody else on this? Three enough, you think? Okay,
Phil
And
was on
then
it,
also,
what's that?
Phil was on it last time, did a good job.
Bill Huddleston.
Phil Huddleston, yes.
Oh,
I
yeah.
concur.
Phil, would you be willing to serve too?
Sure, I'll be happy to. I'm here in Frankfurt. Would be no
Okay.
problem. I'd be glad to.
We got four really sharp people then. If you all could review those things and make recommendations to the whole committee. Probably, would you have a chance to do it by the next meeting or meeting after next? What do you think?
What's the date of
Meeting-
the meeting?
Next meeting is, oh, go ahead.
oh, sure, it's going to be September 9th. But if we don't have, a great deal of things to take care of, it could probably be October. So, you might want to just give yourselves a little bit of time to do that.
Okay,
Maybe say October.
Asking the committee to report if they could at the October meeting. That would give you all a couple of months. And then if you can't get to it, you can't get to it. Oh, no, okay. Anything else?
Yes, sir. Actually, Danita was going to speak to us about replacing our office phone system, which is actually a little bit older than some of my children. So, Danita, do you want to tackle that?
Well, it's got to be a mess because Donita did the first one. Go ahead, Donita.
When we moved out here in 1995, we actually had a company come in and install a 3-line phone system so that we could have 3 lines that would ring at any time. We have 6 phones in our office. One is in the conference room in case we have to have a meeting by telephone. And then each office has their own telephone. So these phones were put in 1995 and are broken. Some of the pieces are missing on them. They still work, but we definitely need to upgrade. We've used these quite a long time. I have been in contact with our phone company that we use, and back in 95, the system cost $4,300 to install 6 phones. We've got a new estimate with new phones that would allow us to transfer the phones to our cell phones during this pandemic, which our current phones do not, so that we could be more available to the public or legislators if they were to call and need something quickly. The phone would ring and it would transfer to our cell phones if we are not physically in the office. The new phones, the estimate they gave us is $9,900, and they would come in and install them, and they would give us service for over a year, helping us get them adjusted. If we need anything, they would come to the office and train us. All that's included in the price. And if we approve that today, they will have them installed roughly around September 2nd, which is a couple of weeks from now. And we could be up and running with new phones by then. But my question to the commission is if someone would have a motion to approve the cost of the new phones. Like I said, they were put in 1995. I think we've got well use out of the ones we bought, and we appreciate your all's consideration so that we could get some new equipment to help get connected with the public.
Is there a motion?
Well, this is Mike. Can I ask a couple questions?
Sure.
So, because we're in the process of putting in a new system at the bank right now. So did we just get one bid for that so far?
They have the government contract with the state,
Okay, all right,
and that's who did our phone back in 1995, and they still have the contract. So we talked to the Legislative Research Commission. I did prior to even calling the phone company to see what the LRC, but they're upgrading their phones at LRC as well. And I just
Okay.
wanted to check with them to make sure that I was doing what I needed to do and who I should go through. They assured me that the guy that we're going through is wonderful to work with, top notch, and perfect for our office.
okay. Do you know what manufacturer of the phones are?
Sure, I have that right here. Just one second, I'm reading the,
And do you all, while you're looking for that, do you all have your email from work that comes to your cell phones?
Yes, we can, yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
So another feature in addition to forwarding your phone, if you can't forward it, so there's an option where the message will go into your email, and so you can listen to it on your actual email. Okay, so that's another thing that I'm sure that I'd like them to be able to do for you if because if you have email access and you for some reason didn't have it just forwarded to your phone and you're out somewhere, then you can check your voice messages basically through your email.
Mhm.
they are it's spelled AVAYA, digital desk phone, Avaya digital desk phone. And I actually have pamphlets that they have emailed me about the phone and how to use them. And I am willing and able to forward this email to the commission. And you all could even write back after reviewing the estimate, yes or no, and we could take a vote that way. If you all want to approve by email, you can, if you prefer to look at them. But I have the estimate and brochures and information on how to use the new system that they've sent me by email.
From my perspective, I mean, I'm really okay, provided that they really meet all of your needs.
Okay.
But for that price, because that's a pretty strong price, they need to have all the bells and whistles with it.
Okay, do you all have a motion at this time to approve Donita going ahead with the phones?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the request for new telephones.
Second.
Second.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It carries. Donita, get your phones and try to come to work, use them occasionally. Too.
We'll work on it.
Yes.
Okay,
Janita, oh, sure. Janita, do you want to just quickly update on the COT progress?
So I've been working with COT to update our database that we use for lobbyists and employers. Tanya, you're fairly new, so you probably weren't at the meetings when we discussed it before. Actually, it was approved last June that we could go ahead with COT and update our system. There's some bugs in it, and also we're trying to create a bill tracking system because right now lobbyists and employers have to list bills on their forms, and we have them. They're entering them if they file online, but we have no way to search them or look at them. And so if a company or a reporter calls and wants to see who's lobbying on House Bill 110, they would have to know who they want to look up to see if that person listed that number. So this would just be a great way to allow the public to have information at their fingertips. We are also going to, once we get this situated and fixed, put it on our website in a report so that you can view the bills reported by, AT&T or one of the healthcare companies, all at your fingertips. And it can be searchable as well. So we're working on that, and COT is still working on that. They are moving a little slower with the pandemic, and a lot of people are working from home. So I am staying staying on top of it, but we don't have a date yet for the completion. Hopefully, it's not right in the middle of a reporting period, but if it is, we'll handle it and take care of it. But right now, they are still working on it, and we're hopeful that it'll be done, hopefully maybe in the next 6 months or so.
Pretty good. Any
That's-
questions? Bob?
Okay, that's really all I have from staff perspective. So if you all wanted to go into executive session,
Okay,
discuss other matters.
I have a question
Oh, sure.
before we go into
Sure.
executive session.
Yes, sir.
We have these, we still have forms that are filed by paper or can be filed by paper. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
We have mostly, well, yeah, the initial form to register is a paper form. Of course, we accept that via email. I mean, they can scan it and email it. They can fax it in. In terms of the reporting, the periodic reporting, like I said, Danita and Lori and Emily really worked on people as we were, moving through the pandemic to get people who were not traditionally filing electronically. I mean, most people are, but we had some holdouts. And I think and Danita could say how many are still filing via paper, but most are not. Most have made that transition. So that has made it a lot easier frankly, on them and on us. So,
Yeah.
Does that answer your?
Well, no, I've got a couple more questions about that.
Oh, sure.
Where is the requirement for that? Is it in the law, or is it in regulation, or is it just the way we do business, so that we could decide to do it differently if we wanted to?
We researched that, Mr. Nicholas, a couple of years ago when George Troutman was on the commission. He wanted us to make it mandatory to file all forms online. And Tony Wilhoit and John Shaw were actually in the office when that happened, and they researched it and found that it could still be considered mail fraud filing forms on. I don't know if you remember Bob Trot, but that was one of the big charges back then. And a lot of the older lobbyists that have been here since the ethics law was in creation still file by paper for the reason of possible mail fraud. Even though they're not doing anything wrong, they're just nervous and still want to file by paper. And we have found that a lot of the people that have been here since '93 are the ones that still file by paper. All the new people, we don't give them the option. I send them an ID and password and tell them they have to file online. It's just, I'm trying to eventually weed out the paper forms. But right now, our process is to only offer online filing to new registrations. But people that have been here since '93 still file by paper. But
there needs to be a law change, I believe, to make it mandatory.
Oh, okay, that's what I'm getting
Yeah.
at.
Yeah. Although we do everything we can to as Danita said, encourage and incentivize them to do it. And there should be an incentive because, again, it is much easier for them to do it that way.
Well,
once they jump
if it's in the law, then obviously we'd have to put forward a bill request to do that. But I think at some point, we need to move into the 21st century and get people to file all those things electronically. And, it's fine if that's their comfort level, but, with the COVID stuff and all that, it's just better not to be getting paper forms in and out of the office. And there are some valid reasons to stop doing that. And
yeah, absolutely.
so if at some point, it would be my feeling at some point we need to try to do something to get that requirement made to where it has to be done electronically.
Mm-hmm.
That's just my thought.
Sure. And yeah, and like I said, when this, in mid-March, when we were up against a deadline, like I said, Danita and Lori really worked hard to encourage and walk people through the process if they hadn't done it before. And I think they got, I'm not sure numbers wise, but I know that they got a bunch of people who had been really recalcitrant and not wanting to do that, which I understand, it's a brave new world. But they were able to get people to do that. So I think that was a good thing. But you're right, that was part of our even the exercise in the office is like, well, how much of this can we do without handling, handling paper, seeing people physically? It's a different, you have to think through, do we really need people walking in and can this be handled over the phone? So.
Thanks.
Oh, thank you.
Does the
Yeah, that's-
commission want to take any action on that now? Recommend a change in the law? We want to hold up for a while. Okay, I guess we'll go ahead, Laura.
For one thing, we probably ought to wait on that. Not
Okay.
tackle that at this point. That's just my own personal, one person's opinion.
We'll make a note to
Yeah.
review, to add it to our recommended changes, suggestions. And then when we actually review recommended changes in the future, you all can decide to keep it or not.
Good idea.
Great. Yeah, that's all I have from a staff perspective. So if y'all are ready to move into executive session, then Tony, Chairman Wilhoit, you want to do the magic language?
Okay, I need a motion to go into executive session to consider a pending complaint, 20 CO2. Do I have a motion?
I'll make it.
Motion.
Second.
Second,
Second, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we will now resolve into executive session.
Judge, let me
Yeah.
make sure Mark has us turned off of
Yeah.
our live feed.
Give me All right, you all are now live back on YouTube. If you need to go back from this into closed session, just give me a heads up and I can swap it again.
Thank you.
Okay, we're back in open session. Is there a motion with respect to complaint 20 LEC-02?
I'll make a motion that we have no action and dismiss it.
On the grounds that it fails to state a cause of action?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 20 LEC-02 is hereby dismissed.
Okay.
Now, is there anything further to come before, we need to do some election, but is there anything before we go to the election?
I just wanted to point out there were also some materials that I put in the executive session materials just for your information. If we want to discuss them, then we would probably need to go back into executive session, but it doesn't take any action from you all. It's just mostly for your information. Okay?
Any questions of law? All right, and I guess we can proceed to the election of a new chair and vice chair.
Mr. Chairman, I would recognize for the purpose of a nomination.
Yes.
Go ahead, Pat.
Go ahead, Pat.
I would like to nominate Dave Nicholas to be chair of the Legislative Ethics Commission.
Do we want to do these individually, Judge? Well,
We could.
I would second that nomination and move that nomination cease for the chair. And
Okay,
Pat, it's
there-
certainly good to hear your voice.
Nomination has been second, and there's a motion that nominations cease. All in favor of the motion that nominations cease, say aye.
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 Oh, okay. Then I
I
guess,
should have included in that the vote be unanimous.
oh, I got the vote be unanimous. Okay, do we need to go back and vote on that aspect of it too? All in favor of that, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay,
Pass.
Mr. Chairman, congratulations. I will now turn the meeting over to you. And we need to vote on the vice chair. Let's do the first order of business.
Well, I have not talked to her, but I would nominate for vice chair Paula Thorock.
I would have to decline that, and I'm very flattered, and I'd love to do it. The situation currently with living part of the year in North Carolina, part of the year in Louisville is a little fluid right now, so I'd like to defer to sometime in the future.
That makes it easy for you to get away though, if you have to run. With that in mind, then I'll withdraw that nomination. And I'll be very impressed with Mr. Nascar.
Tony, Gabe, could you lean forward a little bit? We can't hear you. There you go.
With that in mind, I would like to nominate a person that I've been very impressed with in just a couple of meetings that I've been with him. That's Mike Noster, and hopefully he would agree to serve as vice chair.
Mr. Noster?
Yes. I guess I need to respond. I'll do what I can to help.
Excellent. Well, Mr. Chairman, the new chairman, it's your meeting, so
Oh, you want me to assume the chair?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Okay.
Please.
Any further business to come before the commission?
Well, we have to take a vote on the nomination for Michael Nascar as vice chair.
Okay.
We need a
all those-
second.
We have a nomination for Michael to be the vice chair. Any other nominations? Appearing to be none. Can we extend that motion to be, to elect him by acclamation?
We would take a
So
vote,
moved.
and we need a second on the motion, and then we need to take a vote. Is there a second on the motion to nominate him? Judge Sherlock is? Okay. All right, and now, all in favor?
All
Say
in
aye.
favor, say aye, please.
Aye.
And motion passes.
Congratulations, Mike.
Thank you. Congratulations back.
My sympathies, I'm not sure which. I am very honored to be asked to be chair of the commission. Big shoes to fill, and I will hope for and expect a lot of support from the people who've been on here a long time. There are a lot of people here whose knowledge base is far greater than mine. And I know I chair meetings, but I don't haven't got the experience that a lot of people have in terms of dealing with the ethics law. But I'm trust that my colleagues will support me in doing that, and I appreciate it. We have any further business?
I just have
Mr.
one
Chairman,
question.
you're going to be pleased. You got the best staff in state government.
Yeah,
Do-
they're
do we
great.
Do we leave it up to the salary review committee to elect their own chair, or did we appoint one?
We did not.
We didn't appoint one, I don't think, but being the new chair, I'm going to appoint Tony Gates to be the chairman of that committee. Turnabout is fair play. And and Tony, you can call a meeting whenever we can get together and get folks together to talk about that. I think it's always important to keep our staff salaries in the right range. It's not my money, it's the Commonwealth's money, but they work hard, and we need to support them. They love their job, but they don't do it out of the goodness of their heart. They do it because they get paid. And so we want to make sure that we compensate them properly. And I think it's always a good idea to look at that and look at it on a continuing basis. And the nice thing about it is we don't have to go through anybody else. We just make a decision, we go. So looking forward to Tony's committee meeting on that and getting back to us and seeing where we go from there. Anything else?
No, your next scheduled meeting date is September 9th, but of course, we may not have, anything pressing at that time, especially if the Compensation Commission has not come up with anything yet. The next meeting after that is October 14th, so it's really up to you all in terms of if we want to just say we're not going to have the September meeting. And I realize, and I think Mr. Nichols, you weren't going to be able to be at that one.
Yeah, I can't be at that one.
Sure.
And
So
to help out,
whatever your
it would be
pleasure is.
I can't be there. So if there's no objection, let's just put it off until October.
Okay.
That gives the committee a couple months to get together. And Michael got surprised by becoming co-chair or vice chair, and I don't really want to extend that surprise to making him chair that next meeting. So he's actually newer on the commission than I am. So we'll just pass on the September meeting if that's okay, and meet in October. Everybody okay with that?
And also, just for the compensation group, I've spoke with Tom Hampton and let him know that, that might be coming, and he is more than willing to help you all with, any type of financial analysis that might accompany that.
I'm sure they'll need for Tom to be there like he was last time, and so we don't break the bank. But and he was very valuable to us in that last meeting that we did that. And then any recommendations, Laura, that you have as executive director, that group would need also. Okay, and so. Make sure that we get Mr. Hampton there to help. Anything else? Not, is there a motion to adjourn?
Tony Gates.
Okay, Gates first. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right.
All those who favor the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for your attendance and your good work on this. Please help me as chair to continue the great legacy that Judge Will Hoyt has put down here. And I wish I had had some time, or I would have tried my best to talk him into staying as chair. But I guess that didn't work out. So. Anyway, thank you all. Hope you all stay safe, healthy, and we'll be in touch. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Nichols.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye, everybody. Bye-bye.